nice weather this weekend?
Yeah, so the weekend looking good. We're watching two systems out in the Atlantic Basin that are tropical storms. Those are not going to impact land at all. Our local weather going to be warm and dry.
All right, that's our report for tonight. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.
See you.
The views expressed in the following program do not necessarily represent the views of the staff and management of WVUA 23.
Bringing you analysis and insight into the Crimson Tide. Your Crimson cover hosts, John Copeland, Mike Parker, and Chase Goodbread. Sponsored by Burnham Hahn and by Crimson Village.
Welcome into Crimson Cover Television on WVUA 23. I'm Chase Goodbread, the sports columnist with the Tuscaloosa News, joined by John Copeland, former Alabama All-American defensive end, and Mike Parker, our third co-host, unable to be with us this evening. We've got a lot to come at you with here on CCTV tonight. We're going to be taking a look ahead at Alabama's road game at Mississippi State over in Starkville on Saturday. We'll recap that victory over Ole Miss by a couple of touchdowns last Saturday in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Nick Saban with some interesting thoughts on the latest trend in NIL and recruiting. And Deontay Lawson injured this week, iffy to play. We'll touch on that a little bit more as well. We got the picks contest coming at you. A lot to get to here on Crimson Cover. We got a mailbag. It's a bunch. We'll start, though, taking a look at this Alabama road game at Mississippi State. The Crimson Tide enters 3-1 on the season, 1-0 in SEC play. Mississippi State is 2-2 and 0-2 in the SEC. It'll be at Davis Wade Stadium Saturday night, 8 p.m. kickoff, late kickoff there, broadcast by ESPN, John. And it's a game where I think the defense is going to be really interesting to watch, John, because we've seen these guys start to come together a little bit the last couple of games. Played lights out at South Florida. Played lights out again pretty much against Ole Miss. Couple of busts in the secondary early in that Ole Miss game, but other than that, they looked really good defensively. Can they continue that on the road against Mississippi State? Definitely something to watch.
You know, when you think about a Nick Saban team prior to the Jalen Hurts era, it was all about defense. And I think bringing Kevin Steele back in, I think it brings that old school mentality back. I think the outside rush guy was phenomenal. I think against the run, the inside guy was fantastic. We'll see, but I like what I see.
Offensively for Alabama, John, obviously a couple more hiccups last week against Ole Miss. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the program.
I wouldn't call them hiccups.
But, what would you call 4 sacks and questionable pass protection for the entire first half and
that's
an interception in the end zone?
Because that's why
it's not a hiccup.
That's why I wouldn't call it a hiccup. And here's why I wouldn't call it a hiccup.
Okay.
Because it all happened in the first half. You got a new quarterback. You got everything. When you put a new quarterback in the game, everything take a little time to gel. They came back that second half, and they looked like Alabama offensive O.
They were better. There's no doubt. Here's some highlights from the Ole Miss game. Deep ball to Jermaine Burton right there. Actually threw that.
That kid can play.
He got a good sense of the deep ball. That was a great adjustment on Burton's part. Looked over his outside shoulder, then he had to turn back inside for it. Still made the catch. And here you see an interception by Terry and Arnold, the cornerback. He's got some return skills. Look at that spin move. He also works a little bit in special teams returns for the Crimson Tide. So
look, tonight, Friday night, you're going to hear me say it. I think Alabama is back. I think Alabama is still going to struggle a little bit offensively. But I think, look, I played on the team, Chase, where the offense was not the best thing since pocket. But the defense held strong when they needed to. The defense made plays when they needed to. We turned the ball over. I think if the defense continue to play as well as they're doing, continue to improve it, this Alabama team could be something to reckon with.
The defense definitely ahead of the offense, no doubt about it. Jalen Milroe, though, did have, I thought, a good game. 17 out of 21, well over 200 yards against the Rebels. And the pass protection did get a little better in the second half. But, John, still, they're not getting it done up front, even in the running game, the way you'd like to see.
But the running game wasn't bad.
It got a little.
We've seen improvement in the running game.
It got a little better.
We've seen improvement.
We have.
McCollum, I think he's running hard. I like Williams when he's back there. In my opinion, I would like to see more of Williams. But we're getting there.
What did you make of the 1st and goal from the 1 Alabama had after the block punt and the shotgun snap goes over Milroe's head? They end up having to recover that at the 14. Can't do anything with the drive. Have to kick a field goal when you got a 1st and goal from the 1. That, my friend, is a hiccup.
That's a hiccup. Listen, goal line, 1, 2, 3. I've never seen I don't understand why you are being the shotgun anyway.
Me neither.
You're 1 yard from the goal line. Why snap it that far back and give the defense time to penetrate or get a negative play? Get on the center and run 3 quarterback sneak from the 1, and it's fine.
Not to mention, you got a big, strong quarterback who can move, who's big enough to move a pile if he needs to, in Jalen Milroe. So
the thing that upset me most about this offense, not the quarterback, not the sacks, it's not the running game. It's the fact that out of the entire season, I haven't seen any screens thrown. We got offensive linemen that are struggling in the pass rush, but we're not throwing screens to slow the defensive lineman down. Why? I mean, you throw screens in Pee-wee. If you're getting beat up front, how do you slow the defensive line down? You throw a screen here and there to make them think about it. But we haven't seen that yet.
It's a good point. Screen package definitely has not shown itself much this season. I also think one of the areas that Jalen Milroe could improve, John, is to hit the back on the check down a little more and a little quicker. Jalen likes to look downfield. He likes the big play. He's looking to let it rip and make something big happen, and that's great. You want to be aggressive. I get it. But every once in a while, sometimes it's better to just take a small profit with 5 yards, checking it down to a back in the flat. If that's an easy 5 yards, you take an easy 5 yards.
You take what they give you.
So special teams also worth noting. John, Will Reichard and James Burnip might be the best performing duo of kicker and punter in the SEC right now. Burnham is hitting some bombs. I think he hit one 56 against Ole Miss. He's putting it inside the 20 pretty effectively as well. He's a better punter than he was a year ago. I don't think there's any question. And Will Reichard's been totally money on field goals. He doesn't miss. A hiccup for Will Reichard last week against Ole Miss. He did kick 2 kickoffs out of bounds, and when you do that, that's a penalty, and the other team gets the ball on the 35. You can't do that.
Yeah, it depends. It depends, though. You know, sometimes these special team coaches, they get a little fancy. They want to do things fancy and make it look good, like during their money. Sometimes the kickoff might call for him to kick it to a certain area of the field, and sometimes it get away. It's not like he's just trying to kick the ball down the middle of the field and it goes out of bounds.
I get that.
He's trying to place the ball, and sometimes he just get away from it.
There's no doubt. There's directional kicking with these special teams concepts, no question about it. But it's a lot of field position to give the ball at the 35 when it goes out of bounds. There's no doubt about it. But certainly on field goals, Will Reichard's been just outstanding. He's looking like – he's looking as good as he's ever looked, and he had the 1 year where he didn't miss one all season. So special year it looks like for Will Reichard. All right, when we come back, we got a lot more to get to. We got Know the Foe. We're going to take a closer look at the Mississippi State Bulldogs. We'll hear from Nick Saban on NIL and plenty more. Stick around. You're watching CCTV on WVUA 23.
Burnham Hahn Exterminators offers termite and pest control solutions for residential and commercial customers in the West Alabama area. Family owned and operated, now in its 3rd generation, we stay up to date with the latest advancements in the pest control industry to protect your family and home from pests. We're an authorized operator of the Centricon baiting system. Burnham Hahn Exterminators, here when you need us. Call us today for your complete termite and pest control services.
Have a pool? Save on your best pool-like products today. Come to Pool and Patio Center of Tuscaloosa for all the products and services you need for your swimming pool, spa, and backyard needs.
Maxwell, the continuation of the night tour, the Trilogy Show, an intimate evening with Maxwell, Friday, October 6th at Tuscaloosa Amphitheater, with Music Soul Child and Leela James. Reserved seats on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Maxwell, live.
Don't miss the Kentuck Festival of the Arts at Kentuck Park in Northport, October 14th and 15th, bringing you 270-plus artists and art collectors from all over the U.S. Enjoy live music, spoken word, children's activities, food trucks, craft brews, and more. Tickets are just $15 a day or $25 for a weekend pass. Children 12 and under get in free. Experience this year's Kentuck Festival of the Arts. Find out more at kentuck.org. Football Friday is back. More games, more highlights, and more of your stories. Plus, we go outside the huddle and around the SEC. Football Friday, tonight on WVUA 23.
Welcome back into Crimson Cover Television on WVUA 23. This segment brought to you by Burnham Hahn Exterminators and that outstanding local service in Tuscaloosa since 1946. Burnham Hahn offers complete pest and termite services for residential or commercial needs. If you got mosquito issues, fire ant problems, they'll take care of that too. And they're licensed operators of the Centricon Termite Colony Elimination System. It's a year-round service you've got to have if you are a homeowner. So call Clay Hahn and his staff. They'll get you started with a monthly or quarterly pest control program. Reach them at 553-4433 or visit BurnhamHahn.com. Okay, John, lots to get to in the middle of the show here. We turn to Know the Foe and take a closer look at these Mississippi State Bulldogs that Alabama's going to be facing on Saturday. 9-4 a year ago, 4-4 in SEC play. Coaches Zach Arnett, first season as the head coach. Of course, he was the defensive coordinator for Mike Leach last year, who so unfortunately passed away. Arnett was the interim guy after Leach passed, and then he was hired permanently defensive coordinator for Leach, defensive guy. Top players for Mississippi State offensively. Will Rogers back again at the quarterback position. Jaquavius Marks at running back. He's excellent as well. Lydiatric Griffin, by far and away the leading receiver for this Mississippi State offense. Defensively for Mississippi State, linebacker Nathaniel Watson, probably the most talented guy they've got on that side of the ball. Linebacker Jet Johnson makes plays as well. I think he's leading the team in tackles. And they got Marcus Banks, former Alabama safety, transferred over to Mississippi State. He works in that MSU secondary. Speaking of the MSU secondary, really has struggled, John. This pass defense for Mississippi State, listen to this. Last 2 weeks, they've faced LSU and South Carolina. Jaden Daniels and Spencer Rattler, the two quarterbacks they faced the last 2 weeks. Combined, Daniels and Rattler completed 48 out of 54 balls on Mississippi State the last 2 weeks. If you're Jalen Milroe, you're licking your chops over this, right, John?
Well, it depends. If I'm Mississippi State, I'm thinking, okay, Alabama have just figured out who their quarterback going to be. Everybody's saying he can't throw the football. Maybe this is the game that we can fix our passing defense.
Sure.
I mean, everybody in the country saying the kid can't throw. Everybody say he can't throw the intermediate route. So if I'm Mississippi State, I'm telling my guys, look, this quarterback, they say, can't really throw the football. And then watch Milrose go in there and eat them alive.
Really good group of linebackers for Mississippi State. The secondary, those play has definitely been questionable. And Will Rogers' fit in this new offensive system for Mississippi State is worth talking about too, John. An outstanding quarterback in the air raid system under Mike Leach, set a whole bunch of Mississippi State records, SEC records even. I mean, the kid's thrown for a jillion yards at MSU, and I think he's broken the SEC record for career completions. Well, this year they brought in a guy who wants to run the ball and keep things balanced.
But that's a little deceiving. Career completion is a little deceiving because Mike Leach's philosophy, a run is a quick pass.
That's true.
3 or 4 yards. So that's a little bit deceiving.
I get it. Point being, though, Will Rogers was the heart of that offense under Mike Leach. He started it all. And this offense, he's handing the ball off a lot. Now, last week he threw a lot of balls. I think he threw 46, 48 balls last week. But he's had a couple games this year under this new offensive coordinator that wants more balance. Barbay's his name, where he's only thrown 18 balls, 19, in that neighborhood. So different for him for sure. His performance has been a little bit up and down as well. So it's not just Milroe to keep an eye on. It's the other quarterback too.
I agree with that.
All right, quickly, an injury update as well. Deontay Lawson, the outstanding Crimson Tide linebacker, second-year starter. He's highly questionable to play against the Bulldogs. He injured an ankle against Ole Miss. Nick Saban noting in his Wednesday press conference that Lawson was not able to practice on Wednesday. And, John, it's not a hard rule, but the guideline kind of under Saban is if you can't practice on Wednesday, you're probably not going to be on the field on
That's
Saturday.
Across the board. Yeah, every pretty much, once you get to high school going up, that's pretty much the rule.
Couldn't go on Wednesday. Also, Terrence Ferguson, the Alabama offensive lineman, missed practice with an injury this week as well. Was not able to practice on Wednesday, so his availability on Saturday in Starkville also in question. All right, John, to close things out this segment, got some interesting thoughts from Nick Saban. He was asked about Gene Smith this week. Gene Smith, of course, the athletic director at Ohio State, who was in Washington to testify to Congress about NIL because they're hoping Congress can pass a federal law to help them get some guardrails on it. And he told Congress that it's pretty routine now for recruits to ask for up to $5,000 just to visit a school. And Saban was asked this week if that's happened at Alabama. Here's what he had to say.
Not that I know of. So I don't know of anybody that has asked us, for that. But look, name, image, and likeness is not really name, image, and likeness. I mean, I think we all understand what it's become and what we allowed it to become. And I said long ago and got very criticized for, is this what we want college football to become? So it's becoming what it's becoming, and that's okay. I mean, we'll just adapt and do what we have to do to be able to compete, whatever the circumstances are. So do I think that it would be judicious to have some guardrails on some things? I think you can figure that one out just as well as anybody else.
All right, John, Saban's general point there clearly, and this, I think we all saw this coming. NIL really doesn't have anything to do with name, image, and likeness anymore. It has to do with how big a recruit you are. The bigger recruit you are, the more money you're going to make, which doesn't necessarily correlate to NIL, or at least what NIL is in theory supposed to be. What are your thoughts here?
Well, I can imagine being back in 1991 and Coach Gene Starlin calling me. Hello? Hey, Coach. How you doing? You want me to come visit? Yeah, Coach, I'll come visit. It's going to cost you $5,000. Hello? Hello? He hung up. That wasn't happening. Are you serious? $5,000? Man, if this is what college football have came to, I'm going to start back watching the NFL.
It's gone crazy, no doubt about it. Saban said that hadn't happened at Alabama yet, to his knowledge, anyway.
Man,
but if it's happening at Ohio State, it's going to end up happening everywhere.
Let's talk about when you're talking about recruits.
Yeah,
the guy's asking $5,000 to visit. If high school kids are asking for $5,000 to visit a school, and the school is paying it, then you're stupid. When you can go into the transfer portal and get a guy that already have experience playing college football, then you don't have to pay $5,000. If you're going to pay a high school kid $5,000, then you're stupid.
Hey, we got to go, but the portal kids, if they wanted to, they could ask for $5,000 too if they recruited heavily enough.
Okay, I get that. I'd rather pay that to them, but I would.
We're coming back for a few minutes here on Crimson Cover. Stick around. We got a lot more to come.
The inmates are running the asylum.
It's good to know that in this impersonal world, there's still a local home-owned drugstore that can take full care of you and your family. The good folks at Northport Pharmacy. Owner and pharmacist Rob Colburn will personally see that all of your prescriptions are quickly and accurately filled and your questions answered. And be sure to check out their gift gallery for the finest in gift selections featuring Alabama merchandise, photo frames, children's clothing, beachwear, jewelry, and more. Remember, when you have pharmaceutical needs, see the man who will take the time to get to know you. Rob Colburn at Northport Pharmacy, located next to CC's Pizza, Highway 82 in Northport.
Burnham Hahn Exterminators offers termite and pest control solutions for residential and commercial customers in the West Alabama area. Family owned and operated, now in its third generation, we stay up to date with the latest advancements in the pest control industry to protect your family and home from pests. We're an authorized operator of the Centricon baiting system. Burnham Hahn Exterminators, here when you need us. Call us today for your complete termite and pest control services.
HBCU football is back and falling on HBCU Go.
Here's that quarterback in trouble. Lets it go. Went the other way.
Oh, man!
Bringing the heat. Into the end zone. Touchdown. Wide open.
Great defense.
Yes, it was.
Bam! Tuskegee University takes on Alabama A&M Saturday, September 30th, 3, 2 Central.
Saturday at 2 p.m. on WVUA 23.
It's a great day. Congratulations. You are this month's featured teacher with WVUA.
Thank you. I love my kiddos to death.
Thank you. You are this month's featured teacher. Congratulations. Go to WVUA23.com and click on the featured teacher graphic. Fill out the form and nominate your kid's favorite teacher for a chance to win.
Welcome back to the final segment of Crimson Covered Television. This segment brought to you by Crimson Village, the most active and fun-loving aging adult community in Tuscaloosa. The residents there get the finest in dining and lifestyle experience, super amenities, and a great location right off of Veterans Memorial Parkway. Crimson Village offers its residents 3 levels of care, including the Tide Memory Care program, and they take the highest of precautions when it comes to COVID-19. Give them a call. You can reach transition specialist Jonica Ward at 632-6699 or visit crimsonvillage.com if you've got a loved one in need of assisted care. And remember, Crimson Village owns fun. All right, John, final segment here. We begin going around the SEC. We've only got a few minutes. We're going to have to be quick, but here we go. A couple of games of note last week. LSU beats Arkansas on a pretty close one, 34-31. South Carolina beats Mississippi State 37-30. Texas A&M takes care of Auburn 27-10, and we got some video from that game for you.
Auburn got quarterback problems.
Here's the only touchdown Auburn scored, and Jimbo Fisher, the Texas A&M coach, watch this, John, on the field as the ball is being returned by Auburn. There he is. Nope.
Hey.
No penalty. There you go.
What is he doing?
I mean, he's an offensive guy. I guess he wanted to be a few steps closer to the play. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it looked like he was playing corner in cover 2.
Unbelievable. It's got to be a penalty, though, doesn't it?
You would think so, yeah. But you know what? it was a point of emphasis a couple years ago. It's not so much anymore. I mean, a couple of years ago, if you stepped a foot off the sideline, they was throwing the flag. Not so much now, though.
You've coached high school football a long time. You see high school coaches hanging out 3, 4, 5 yards in the field of play a lot of times when the ball's being snapped.
A couple years ago, if you did that, the flag was coming out. And I'm coaching now, and I'm the defensive coordinator, and I spend a lot of time on the field, and I'm getting away with it a lot more than there was a couple of years ago.
Push that envelope. Got to do it. All right, mailbag real quick. Jeannie from Thomasville in the mailbag this week wants to know, is Elijah Pritchett taking over at left tackle? We'll know a lot more about that on Saturday in Starkville, John. Of course, he's been playing backup left tackle behind the freshman Caden Proctor, but he got in and played quite a few snaps against Ole Miss, so it looks like there's a competition going on there at the left tackle position. So something to keep an eye on, no question about it. All right, we go to the Crimson Cover ticker now really quickly. Some updates around the NFL. Cleveland Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper this past week, 7 catches, 143 yards, and a touchdown in a win over the Tennessee Titans. The Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Levi Wallace records 2 interceptions in a win over the Raiders. And finally, John, this is unreal.
The Raiders stink.
Yeah, they do. The Dolphins, with quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, he throws 4 touchdown passes in a 70-20 win over the Broncos. John, it's the most points in an NFL game since 1966. Miami also ran for 350 in this one. How does that happen in the pros, John?
The 350 rushing overshadows the 4 touchdowns.
Sure, oh yeah.
In the NFL, there's somebody should be getting fired. Whether the janitor, the equipment guy, somebody got to get fired after this game. No question about it.
10 touchdowns for the Dolphins in that one. Just craziness, no doubt about it. Tua Tagovailoa certainly looking sharp so far this season for Miami.
Can he stay healthy? This is a good thing.
Always the key with him for sure, especially with the concussion history. All right, really quickly, the picks contest. John, you had a huge week this past week. John went 5-0 in our picks contest. He's out in front of me by 2 games now. I went 3-2. So John's broken the tie. He's out to a 2-game lead. This week, some interesting games. We will start with Alabama at Mississippi State. We both like the Crimson Tide, I'm sure, John. No need to go there. I'll go first on these since I'm
sure
behind.
you would.
Well, you want me to go second? I'll do
no,
that too.
You go ahead. You
All
always go second.
Georgia at Auburn. We both like the Bulldogs, right?
No
that one's easy. All right, LSU at Ole Miss. I'm going to take the Tigers on the road. Who you like there?
Likewise.
Okay, we're square there. Florida at Kentucky. I'm going to take the Wildcats at home. You're going to go against?
I like the Wildcat.
Okay. Come on.
Let me pick the last one. I like Arkansas against Texas A&M.
I do too. Daggone, we're the same on all of them.
Well, we could be the same for the rest of the year. That
I
means
know
I
that's
win.
what you're thinking. I know that's what you're thinking.
I don't have to jump out there. You do.
All right. I will take Arkansas just like you. So we both like Kentucky at home. By the way, the last Kentucky coach to beat Florida 3 years in a row was Paul Bear Bryant from 1949 to 1951, and Mark Stoops at Kentucky can join him because he's beaten Florida 2 in a row. It'll be 3 in a row if he knocks them off on Saturday. So interesting stuff there. We got to get out of here on Crimson Cover. We're gone. For John Copeland, I'm Chase Goodbread. We'll see you next time on Crimson Cover.
Hold on.
It's good to know that in this impersonal world, there's still a local home-owned drugstore that can take full care of you and your family. The good folks at Northport Pharmacy. Owner and pharmacist Rob Colburn will personally see that all of your prescriptions are quickly and accurately filled and your questions answered. And be sure to check out their gift gallery for the finest in gift selections featuring Alabama merchandise, photo frames, children's clothing, beachwear, jewelry, and more. Remember, when you have pharmaceutical needs, see the man who will take the time to get to know you. Rob Colburn at Northport Pharmacy, located next to CC's Pizza, Highway 82 in Northport.
To Baseball Country, a ministry in West Alabama that reaches far outside the diamond. We create opportunities for people of all ages and backgrounds to encounter Jesus. From baseball and softball training for high school to the big leagues, to men's and women's team sports camps, men's and women's